Okay, in this video we're going to look at starting a track idea by essentially stealing a melody from something that's already been recorded and then editing it and turning it into something new. We're going to do this using audio. So let's say you've got, you can either find a sample in the Apple Loops library that you quite like the melody idea, or if you have your own samples and audio samples from somewhere, you're welcome to use these as a good source of free samples online. There's loads of them, but this is one. It's looperman.com, where you can get drum loops and all kinds of acapellas and different samples. You just need to register, and it's free. So when you've registered, you can search for different types of samples in this filter. So you click on loops and samples up here, and then I typed in melody and hit enter, and you can just audition different sounds. So you could find something that you quite like the sound of, that you might get some inspiration from, and then you can just download it. Okay, so you can either do it this way, or you can find something from Apple Loops library or whatever. But the idea is that you get the audio into Logic, and then we can kind of rip the melody line out of it. So I've got two different samples here. In fact, I've changed my mind. I'm just going to delete that altogether. We're going to use just this one sample here. So I've taken this sample from the Apple Loops library just for simplicity. Okay, so it's a bass line, but I quite like the melody, but I want to turn it into something that maybe could be played on a piano or a synth or something like that. So what we need to do is, first of all, if you are using samples from the Apple Loops library, you must first of all bounce this sample in place to create a new version, because you can't do any editing to this audio sample that is destructive whilst it's when it's come from the Apple Loops library. So we'll bounce in place first to create a new version that belongs to us. Okay, you can mute that one there. If you've taken a sample from other places, so you've downloaded it from a website or something like that, then you don't need to do this. It's just if it's from the Apple Loops library. So we've got an audio sample. I've double clicked on it to open up the audio editor. And now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on flex. So hopefully you've seen some of my previous videos on flex time and flex pitch. So we're going to use flex pitch. So we'll click on the DNA molecule, turn on flex, and then we'll select from the drop down flex pitch. And we can see the notes that is analyzed from this recording. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to steal these notes and turn them into MIDI. It's very straightforward to do. You just go over to edit over here, right down to the bottom, and you create a MIDI track from flex pitch data. So now we have a MIDI track that has is emulating what is going on in the audio here. It's basically taken the notes that it's been analysed from here and stuck it into MIDI. Now, I guarantee there will be some problems with it. It's not perfect. You'll get a general gist of the melody, but some of the notes might be slightly off. You can see here at the beginning it's not quite right. I'm actually just going to select everything and bump it up a couple of octaves. So we can just start removing stuff or moving things around that are slightly off. So that doesn't need to be there. That note's wrong, so we'll just drag that along there. That's obviously wrong. And we can delete that one there because that's wrong. But what we've got now is the melody from this audio file. And we can start editing this. We're not adding new notes. We could just start editing the notes a little bit by moving them up and down, a bit left and right, and turn it into something new. So turn it into something slightly different. So I've just sort of nabbed a melody idea from this audio clip, exported it to MIDI, and moved a few notes around, and now it's a completely different melody. It's sort of still got the same rhythm in this case because I haven't changed the rhythm, but the notes are in different pitch positions, pitch-wise. And then if you're when it creates that MIDI track, it just defaults to a simple synth sound. So you can go into your instrument and change it to something else, maybe a piano. I'm going to change the instrument altogether. So we'll choose a sampler. We'll find something that's a bit more organic. We'll go to the presets and choose an acoustic piano. And then we'll stick some reverb on it down here. Choose a hall or something. Maybe pitch it up a bit more. And let's go back to our original sound. It would be quite hard, even though rhythmically it's similar, it would be quite hard for someone to listen to that and go, oh, I've heard that sample before, that's from the Apple Loops library, or that's from Looperman. Because you've changed the sound of the instrument, you've changed some of the notes of the instrument, and we've changed the actual octave of the notes, so it's now a new melody. But you have not had to write any of it. All you've done is edit the pitch of a few notes. So that's one way to get a track started.